All right, Commission, you are live. Good morning. Welcome to the September 22nd Raleigh County Commissioners meeting. Please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right there. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to here on behalf of the Reach Committee to present our Employee of the Month for October. Yeah, October. It's right around the corner. Yeah. So let's read what the person submitted for this employee. That they wanted to nominate this person, that a county resident came in to pay their water bill and wanted to tell us how the Deep Creek area roads are always very well maintained and how the county was always on top of things getting snow and ice removed in that area of the county. They checked and they were told that Dan Mathis was the operator that cleans that area of the county. And I was also told that he always does a great job and is a valuable employee. So I'd like to present Dan Mathis with the Employee of the Month. Wow. And 2 movie tickets. Cool. And also you will have front row parking wherever they put your parking spot. Cool. For that month. So
thank you very much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, whoever did it.
So I don't know who
that's all right. Thank you. Wow.
You can give a speech if you want. Microphone's yours for a few.
Been doing it a long time. Just continue to do it.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah, that's my area of the county, so I appreciate you for sure, and I appreciate all of you, all your hard work and effort. It's always complimented.
Thank you. Thanks.
Do you guys want to take a picture up here? Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Wow.
You gotta get the photo.
I still don't get it.
So how'd they get you to come here this morning?
Tell you what?
How'd they get you to come here?
Well, you know, it's just another day.
You lied.
Good day, you know.
I just wanted to know if I pulled it out or do whatever you want to do with the air school. Oh, good.
Wow.
You did a good job.
Thank you, Danny.
Gee.
You're doing it, but you don't need to do it. So you want me to do it still too? What's that? No, go ahead.
More the merrier.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Following.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Actually, Michael, you're actually surprised.
Yeah, very nice.
You too. Take care, man. They did good. Yeah.
He wants to
About
he wants to probably.
usually you get taken out of your normal routine, you start to think. You know?
Something either I'm getting.
Yeah, something's wrong, something's not right, something in.
All right.
And just like that, we clean it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Any other public comments? All right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, after that fun. Monday afternoon, after our meeting, I attended the law enforcement board meeting. Consent agenda included approval of 3 sets of minutes, approval of expenditures and credits, reports on the crime figures, jail population, and approval of the communication center policies, which is about this thick. And we were provided with a complete set of those.
42,
Was it?
47,
Yeah.
like statutes, you know, they don't end up in one place, they end up everything, so you have to print each separate page. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to look at them, I've got a copy of them. Let me see, a general agenda included a community advisory board report on their activities, approval of financial audit. There was a bid for that. Task force agreement on drug trafficking and the approval of a leave program policy. 2 executive sessions were held. One was regarding a disciplinary issue and the other the selection process for our new director. Wednesday, I attended a meeting for community leaders sponsored by the Manhattan Arts Center Board of Directors concerning future direction of the Arts Center.
Good.
Yeah.
It got sent to me originally and I couldn't
Couldn't
make
make
it.
it.
Yeah, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it was a focus group. It were divided up that discussed questions on organization, marketing, strategic planning, and facilities. Each group made presentations on their discussions, and there will be a community-wide survey coming out in the near future. And they're hoping to get a lot of input on that. They're looking at all sorts of things. I think they said they'd had 5 such meetings so far and had another one. Yeah, so it sounds like they're trying to get all areas of the community. Later that afternoon, I sat in on the Rural Economic Development Advisory Board meeting. And there was a presentation there on a new Zingdale Community Center. You may have seen it, Karen. It was given with some plans that they had drawn to develop a 3-acre site into a new community park center. Phase 1 will be for a pavilion and outdoor rec area. They're going to save the big cottonwood tree that's in the space. And then phase 2 will include a new 40 by 60 community building. 1 grant has been awarded by the Wamego Community Foundation, and they're working on several more. So the board discussed details of the drawing presented, ownership of the property, which is now in township hands, and how important this will be for their area. Their foundation is called Friends of Zingdale Community.
It's on Facebook too. I just thought.
Is it? Okay. There'll be more information on in the minutes. Additional discussion was held on child care in the county, and there will be a presentation by Zero to Thrive, which is out of Allen County, at our Public Works building on October 26th. I am going to be attending the parade in Keats on Sunday afternoon. So that's it. Did you know there was a parade?
I'd heard something. Well, it happens every year, but
Yeah.
it seems like to me it's usually in later October, but they're going to pick a good weekend to do
Yeah,
it.
they called me to see if I wanted to
Yeah.
come. I said, sure. So it's in the, I think it's a parade starts at 4.
Yeah.
And then they have food and entertainment afterwards. So.
That time.
Yeah.
Speaking of, it's fall.
Fall.
Thankfully, nothing more peaceful than being able to open up the windows last night and hear steady rain, and I probably got the best night's sleep I've gotten in quite some time. So appreciative of that for sure. Another one of these kind of blink and you miss it type of weeks. So lots going on. Like being busy like I am right now. It's better than busy, chaotic, and everything else it's been like the last 2 falls. So it's all good. But Monday afternoon, I too attended the meeting of the Riley County Law Board. I think you covered just about everything there, maybe with one exception. We did pass that meeting resolution so that we can open up meetings outside in the county in the next couple of months. Next month, it'll be in Leonardville. I don't know how that's going to work with both of us being in Kansas City for KAC at that time. Hopefully they'll have a Zoom and we can do what we did last year. And then November's meeting will be at the community center in Ogden. So, and I think Commissioner Folke covered everything else as far as that was concerned. And that was a long list of communication ordinance changes statutorily required. But just to add a little caveat to that, they are working on getting the communication center dispatched accredited, as well as the organization, which takes a separate set of work and a separate set of things in order to accomplish. So that's what they're working on with that. And that was the reason for that. Tuesday afternoon, attended the September meeting of the Board of Directors of the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. got an update on both their financials and membership accounts. Getting really close to breaking some records on that membership account. I thought was kind of good. Some of the other items of discussion was a change to their bylaws that they're working on that will be voted on at a later time. Presentation on local entrepreneurial funding and strategy plan. Pretty robust. Pretty robust. I'll just leave it at that. There is a local delegation that went to Washington, D.C. here in the last couple of weeks, discussed local policy. Sounded like it went pretty well. It was a pretty quick, like 36-hour turnaround. So they basically went there, spent a day, and basically came right back. Is what it is. It's that time of the year where if you're going to meet with the federal delegation, you probably better be doing it now. So probably makes sense. We also got an update in progress with Scorpion over across the way. They're working on a public information campaign. And then lastly, we got just reports from all the staff and the things that they're working on and doing. Let's see. Also Tuesday evening, I met with the board of directors from the Riley County Farm Bureau. Took some time to thank them for their work and efforts last year in helping us pass the new sales tax. They did some advertising in a couple of newspapers, a couple other publications, word of mouth through their membership. Feel like anyway that had a pretty good impact along the way. So wanted to make sure they knew that we were very thankful for that. Gave them an update on some things that we've been working on. I met with them last in October, so about a year. So I kind of went through the highlights of that, some of the things I knew would be of vested interest, and discuss some things that we'll be working on moving forward as well. They're in discussions of their 2023 budget, upcoming events and some things that they're working on, and challenges that they're having with their facility over there on Childs and Farm Bureau Road, over by the old theater. I'll leave it at that. So don't know where they're going to go with that just yet, but they're in discussions anyway. So yesterday afternoon, I chaired the September meeting of the Flint Hills MPO. We got an update on financials there as well, short-term disability plan and the 2021 audit, as well as the upcoming 2023 UPWP plan from Jerry Tremblay, new and permanent planning manager for the organization. Had a pretty robust KDOT update from Matt Messina. A lot of stuff going on with that bill plan. I've got a full 3-page sheet of links. If anybody wants those, I can send them through the channels. Kansas has put an infrastructural hub together to deal with some of the components of that as well. And apparently there's been some change in the census numbers here locally.
Really?
Still getting an update on that, see what that is and why.
Yeah.
But it came down a little bit. So
it did.
It did. It's showing us that just a little over 69,000, and the city just a little over 52. So it come down a couple of thousand. So they're still working through that. It's still not official.
Really?
Probably makes sense considering everything that happened in 2020. They're doing a pretty comprehensive review. But yeah, that caught me by surprise. And I'm only mentioning it just because, we've been kind of on that borderline of, what federal funds look like in a metropolitan sense, which looks like we'll still stay above that. But that's still kind of fluid, apparently. And that caught me completely by surprise. So I'll continue to get some information from Federal Highway Department, a couple other entities to clarify some of that. And I'll be glad to send it along the way. Let's see, where am I at here? Oh, okay. We also had several votes. It was a pretty long meeting yesterday. We approved several items, including Amendment 3 to our Transportation Improvement Plan. We do that several times through the year, so that's not anything out of the ordinary. We had approval of the 2022 Limited English Proficiency, that's in that word, plan. I'm just going to go with the abbreviation next time, so you'll just have to live with that. That's basically a plan that gets updated every 4 years. So this is the first one for me. Basically, if there's challenges or issues or anybody has any issues with the MPO, this allows those with language barriers and elsewise to be able to communicate back and forth. I think that's a good plan considering the transgeness of our community and region and elsewise. We also made approval of the 2022 Title V program guidance. we feel like with the census numbers and a couple other tracks that we may have to come back to that. So we're kind of hesitant on approving it, but there's timelines in place with that. So we may have to come back and amend that. I thought maybe we'd hold off for one more month and let some of that information come back through and try to streamline it and do it all at once. But we decided to go ahead and pass it just to get it through so KDOT can actually get it registered, so on and so forth. And so we may come back to that and have to amend it. I don't know. Lastly, for me, I attended the Ogden City Council meeting last night. Gave them an update on everything that we're working on. They passed a series of municipal ordinance, as well as one single charter ordinance, basically dealing with municipal courts, fines, those sort of things. The state, as you can imagine, has a very, very constrictive way for cities in general to be able to collect some of those fees and funds for what they're doing there. So they can opt out of it. They chose to do that. They can do that because they have that constitutional home rule. They also had an executive session, attorney-client privilege, and then just ended up with some miscellaneous items from both the council and city staff. Did want to point out, much like Pete's, they're having their fall festival next weekend on the 1st from noon to 11 p.m. in downtown. There's all kinds of events, food vendors, live music, so on and so forth. So I'll be out there at some point in time. It also falls in the midst of Oktoberfest, an 11 a.m. game on ESPN Plus. So anyway, that's all I got this morning.
Oh, and adding to it, Riley's is October 8th. That's
So we have 3 weekends of some community events. I love it. I love it.
that time of year. Wednesday, I attended the full meeting, North Central Kansas Regional Detention Facility and Secure Care Center board meeting.
Got it.
He received notice a couple of weeks ago. The state has raised the per diem for the secure care. They hadn't, it was completely surprised. They didn't know it. He's always squeezing against the budget. All of a sudden we got a raise, which discussed what they're going to do with the funds. Main thing is to raise wages. They're like everyone else, will having staffing problems and hope this will help. But then there was also some, because there's somebody there from Pot County and from Saline County that work in the jails, and I know ours correction officers are down. Everybody seems to be difficult positions to fill right now. And the judge that had questions last month came out and took a tour, and they explained what her concern is, and she seemed to be satisfied now. She didn't understand some of the stuff that went on there and how it worked. But then there's 3 teachers there they used for the youth that are there, and they had them all come in and discuss what they've been doing, which was nice to get to meet them. And they've got real good programs that help all the youth there keep up with their schoolwork, and for the older ones, they've got them working on GED. And they have a library, and they with some plans to enlarge it because they don't have access to computers or TVs in the evening, and so they've all of them are starting to read a lot, which is good. Yeah. It's, we all compliment how they seem to be doing a great job with all the youth in there. And then other than that, I also was working on answers for the residents had about our planning board decision, kind of working on exactly what went on there, because they had questions about what went on there. And there's unfortunately they weren't the answers they wanted, but typically these things happen. And that's all I had. So
items, a highway use permit granting Clarkson Construction permission to work in the right of way to trim and remove trees from Harold Road.
But didn't you do that one already?
Yeah, we've done that several times.
That was for the city to do some work there.
Okay.
That was for a contract.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll go ahead.
I would say I thought, because the first time I thought where in the world was Harold Road, and then
Okay. Go ahead and make a motion then to approve the highway use permit for Clarkson Construction Company.
All right, second that.
to move and second to approve the highway use permit for parks and construction. All in favor? Aye.
Next item is to accept Jim Larkin's resignation and appoint Patrick O'Neill as Ashland Township Treasurer.
I'll go ahead and make that motion to accept Jim Larkin's resignation and appoint Patrick O'Neill as Ashland Township Treasurer.
I second that.
We need a statement to accept Larkin's resignation, appoint Patrick O'Neill as Ashland Township Treasurer. All in favor?
Aye.
Next items are action on a retail dealer's 2022 cereal malt beverage license for David and Daniel Meyer. It's Liquid Art Winery.
I have a couple questions on this. Well,
Yeah, I thought we did that.
We have, but the issue seems to me here is why do they have to come back every time they have an event to do that?
The
I mean,
last,
it's a winery. I mean, it kind of comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Well, cereal malt is different.
Right. And that was going to be my second question.
the last,
I'm turning to the attorney on that one.
the last time they just approved the township portion. Because this was just on not too long ago,
Yeah.
and they wanted it to go to the township for like 10 days and then come back
Oh,
for
that's
this
right.
part.
Okay.
To be
I remember that now.
approved. That's why
we had-
you're seeing it twice.
We didn't sign it. We just said it's okay at the sent to the township and then they
Yeah.
approved it. Now it came back.
Because before we did both at the same time, and for some reason, I think Clancy wanted them separated for this one.
Okay. So this would be not for specifically an event, but
The rest of
Correct.
the year.
Okay.
That's through this.
So that I can deal with, because I'm like, there's no reason for them to have to come back.
We never
every time.
stay forever, but it's.
Right.
For the year.
For the year.
For the year.
I think you have to do
Until they
it.
renew.
Yeah, we do every year.
Okay, that makes sense, but if they have to come back every time and ask for one of those for an event, we need to do something
Yeah.
like this instead, because that should just be common sense given the scenario. Okay.
That makes sense.
I guess we got to make a motion too, don't we? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the retail dealers 2022 cereal malt beverage license for David and Danielle Tegmeyer from the Liquid Arts Winery.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the cereal malt beverage for Liquid Art Winery. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the one that's in a weird spot on. Right.
Yeah. Clear on the right at the bottom. Great. sign.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
Next item's action to sign a legal letter for James Gordon and Associates.
When I first looked at that, I thought, oh, it's a typo. That must be for year 22. It's for this year. Why is it? Usually we have the audit done in June or July.
But that's that's still for the year before. So you have to actually work through the
I
entire
know we
budget
haven't
year.
got the budget. We haven't gotten the audit from last year. Usually we get the audit
They usually come in and present that. Yeah, you're
in
right.
June or July. Why are we just starting the audit?
No, they've got all the information. They've already sent us they've already sent us the preliminary audit information and everything. But I think it's because everything was so delayed this year, partially because my position had changed as well.
Okay.
So they fell behind, and so that's pushed us behind by at least a month, actually about 2 months. It seems like.
The one before we had received in July.
Right, it's usually before July 31st, it seems like,
Yeah.
from what I read back.
Okay.
But this one is,
Well, they've also had some changes within the organization too, but
right,
um,
yeah, well, there's also some state changes with like the SB 13 stuff. Some of the legislative statute that everybody wants to make sure we're in line with, make sure we're doing everything perfectly kosher to the state.
But did that take effect in 21 budget? That's kind of, I thought it was.
That's the 21 audit, the 2021 audit, which is always at least, 6 months
Well,
behind. Because
yeah.
it takes a while for auditors to go through everything.
it would have been for a half a year. Because the state budget starts on July 1st and
Mhm.
all the rest of us normal entities start, regular year.
Okay.
Feds off too.
Yeah.
That's
Well, the feds are just working off continuing resolution, so there are no dates on that.
So, yeah.
Well, we've got the state, we've got federal, and we've got ours. So it's kind of like.
Can't line them all up. They're
No.
too easy.
Makes too much sense. Yeah. Well, I mean, we do need to get the audit done at some particular point in time, and this is certainly one of those processes. So I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the legal letter for the 2021 audit.
I would second that.
Then Newton second, approve the legal letter for the 2021 audit. All in favor?
Aye. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I was just commenting.
Next item is Riley County Personnel Action Forms for Eddie Campbell, a purchasing agent in the Public Works Department for separation from county service. Kevin Bacanti, an IT specialist in IT GIS for separation from county service. And Kayla Torney, a appraiser in the personal property department of the appraiser's office for separation.
There's 9th month.
Or changed. Yeah. I was went by a little fast. I want to do that. It's the whole September. Yes. I think I like the date 8.
Oh, okay. Oh, we go back to August.
Yeah,
Like, we're still in September, aren't we? Got me confused.
seems like it. I lost a couple of months.
If you want, I could put a 7 and just go 987. Or if you go backwards, it's 789.
Yeah.
I'm here all morning.
You got here at 4, right?
No. No. Allergies.
I mowed yesterday. It's so dry, it's so windy.
Got quite the little pool house back there. Your wife put, oh yeah, that's pretty cool looking.
Smoke out. Which
I can see that, yeah. Yeah.
Next item is payroll vouchers and warrant vouchers for September 23rd.
Well, I guess we better probably approve that one, huh?
Yeah.
But improve payroll and accounts payable.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye. Good, I don't have to date this.
People gotta look, we're getting paid for August again? Michelle would have fun with that one, wouldn't you? I think you got your work cut out for you already. You don't need to add anything else, huh?
And I finally did pay attention to the notes that signed up last night for.
Yeah, for the record, that's officially password 100, but I've got to remember now. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
I don't have mine.
It'll be
I have to write them down because
Oh, mine are.
it just won't work otherwise.
Yeah. I get the squeaky chair.
Oh my gosh, we got 4 of them today.
See, you got a partner.
I don't understand why we wrote that. So what?
I don't have any changes to the minutes.
I don't either.
Okay. I'll go ahead then. Make a motion to approve the minutes from the Riley County Commission meeting, September 19th, 2022.
I would second that.
And moved and seconded to approve the notes of September 19th meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
tentative.
No.
Press conference topics.
No. Do you know we have intergovernmental at noon on Monday?
No.
Right, very.
Well, just a lot of the same things going on. We're waiting on we've got a jury trial going this week. And hopefully we'll have a verdict today on it. It's wrapping up today, but we're moving through them. Our overtime expenditures are going to be a lot higher this year than I think they have been in the past. And part of it is just trying to get caught up. And what the court is doing is stacking cases. And so we're having to subpoena for 5 cases, even though only one's going. But they want to make sure that, if they set a trial, that there's a trial going through it. So they're setting, up to 7 in some circumstances. So we have to subpoena people for all 7. And then we got to turn around and call all those people off. But it's, until we get on the other side of this, 2020, it's just kind of the way we're having to try to work through it. But we are doing what we can. And we got to get the work done now. And so, but we're fully staffed, and I have not heard any rumors of anybody leaving. So if I keep, it's good not to have to come over here every other month and ask for to fill a position because Don's up. So I think we're in good shape going forward. And certainly I think the actions of the commissioner earlier this year with regard to pay and some of those other things really, it helps encourage employees when they feel like they're being taken care of and looked after, want to stay. And I know for us, especially because there's a lot of stress on them right now, a lot of pressure on them. It's a nice reminder that, hey, there's people looking out for you. So I really appreciate that. And I know they do as well. And pass that on behalf of all my staff. So thank you. Otherwise, next time I come back here, we'll probably have a few more trials knocked down. Hopefully just a little bit more progress and just keep moving forward. So, but I feel we're in a pretty decent position where we're at right now. So.
How about the jury selection location?
That was gonna be my question.
I think my understanding is that's not going to be available. And we'll just, it will probably slow the process down a little bit if we have to do panels in the courtrooms. But, we did them in the courtrooms forever. And so we'll just, figure something out. I think some judges will do panels where we bring in, 24 instead of all, 48 that we need. We'll bring in 24 at a time, do things like that, kind of like we did on the capital case. And other judges may just say, we're just gonna, line them up in the courtrooms like we've done in the past, where we, bring in 48, 50 jurors at a time and go through the questioning process. So I don't know if anybody's gonna do that. I'm a Commissioner Chairman McKinley has, so
I've been asked to, but it's never actually gone to fruition. So I probably just jinxed myself, but
Oh, yeah.
Greg, you meant someone's at least one.
Yeah, I served.
Yes, that was say
I was kind of shocked, but I was selected to serve.
That's what I was, so I always said, oh, you won't be picked. You're commissioner, they won't pick you.
And I told my staff that I'll be back in 30 minutes.
I guess we're desperate for jurors. That's
Yeah.
what
It's education. It's good for an attorney to be on a jury.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'd like to be on one, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
I never thought my life would be on a jury either, so it's really educational. It's really a very important civic duty.
Oh, well, it was an educational experience. You hear about what goes on, but actually sit through it.
It's like a lot of
It's a
things.
learning experience.
I've heard from people who have served on them. I've had a lot of conversations with people that have served on jury and everything else, but I still would like to be in the process sometime. Listen to the conversations that go on actually inside the deliberations.
The selection process seems a long time, that was more difficult than the court. I thought that going through the selection process seemed a little odd. But I mean, I know that's just one of the steps, but
It's probably my least favorite part. I don't know how many trials I've done in 32 years, but that's probably always been one of my least favorite parts of the trial. Because you hope you don't offend a juror, so or make somebody mad or whatever. So, but you got to find out information.
Yeah.
We'll keep plugging away.
that discussion at the meeting I was at yesterday with the other county commissioners, talking about Saline County, was talking about how bad a stack up they've got. Some trials where and the guy that works at the jail, and he said their jail is full too, waiting, on all the backlog of cases, trying to get caught up.
Yeah, I think, next July, right now, the statutory speedy trial was stayed until July of 2023. Once it's going to put more pressure on the system once that statutory speedy trial kicks back in, because we'll have to try within that statutory time period. But I do think here it's been stressful at times, but I think that by next spring we will have cleared out a lot of backlog. Hopefully, it's not going to invite us over by December this year, but I think by next April, what I'm seeing next March, April, we will start to have a lot of backlog.
I've never understood why they couldn't streamline that a little bit and take some of the lesser cases and maybe run through virtual or digital means just to get it through, because that's kind of what happened to begin with. And, that would unclog it a bit. I mean, the strain on the resources, strain on our community services, the strain on our jails.
You can't do jury trials that way. Because
Right, but you can go through the hearings, the proceedings and the other parts of that. And
we have.
yeah, okay.
We've been doing that we're still doing some, but yeah, we've been doing that virtually, but that has its limitations too. And then probably in some cases, it's actually made things go longer than if it were people live. So no, it's just the way it is. I mean, trying to get, people, on screens and everything else, and not lose connections. You lose connections every so often or whatever else, that it's probably
Those IT people, I swear.
yeah, it's and you have people from Walmart showing up in court, and I mean, they're shopping and everything. I mean, we've had people walking their dog in the city park and everything else, making court appearances, and that does not assist efficiency at all. Put it that way.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I don't have anything else.
Yeah, thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Insulting the IT people might leave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chair. Yeah. So I couldn't believe it yesterday. The Royals did the unthinkable. Let Dayton Moore go.
Yeah.
And he was at the press conference.
Oh,
At least I think about 70% of the population thought it was going to be a downtown ballpark they were talking about. A surprise.
no. But she was here last time.
Hey, John. John Sherman said that they
Three, but it was back. I'm assuming more.
So he was done. So what that tells me is the philosophy of ownership is not the same as management. That's probably part of the issue the last couple of years. And it has to happen. Got to remember Dayton, to the extent under John Sherrills, who won all the stuff with the Braves, and then Sherrills was the general manager with the Royals before that.
before the Braves.
Right.
Yeah.
All the way back to the late 80s. Be interesting to see who they hire for that position.
I have the time right for 9:35 after you guys are coming out of executive.
9:35.
Yeah. So,
I didn't think Barry was going to make 9:15 when he started. So.
Someone smooth.
Yeah, I noticed.
Didn't realize until the back half of the agenda.
Oh, yeah, it's. Very, not any big things, but.
No.
Things, yeah.
All right. Anybody else going to the ribbon cutting next door this afternoon?
Maybe.
I'm gonna make it, but it's going to be late. I got to go to Topeka for a doctor's appointment. I don't think I'll make it back at 3:30, but I told them I'd stop in.
I've been in there, see it.
Yeah, I haven't yet. And I kind of do want to check it out. I just know what all that noise was from earlier this morning.
Wasn't worth it, right?
It looks like it was.
It's really nice. And good.
No, okay. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I understand. I got some things I got to rejuggle around here in early October too. So. You ready? They're not at 9:15 yet. That clock's about 3 minutes off.
Okay. Oh, I gotta do my phone. Oh,
I gotta go back with the computers.
There we are.
All right.
You didn't have anything else, did you, Craig, to start?
No,
Okay, so I'll go ahead and move that the county commission, including Chairman McKinley, Vice Chair Foki, and Commissioner Ford, recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Craig Cox, Deputy County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act, with the open meeting to resume in the County Commission chamber at 9:35 a.m. Anna Burson, Riley County Appraiser, will be present during a portion of the executive session to provide factual information.
I would second that.
We moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I'll go ahead and, I gotta wait for Kevin. I'll go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye. Also move that the record reflect action shall be consistent taken with the consensus reached in executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded the action were taken consistent with the meeting. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Craig.
All right, good morning, Commission. Corey Meyer, ITPIS Director. I appreciate you guys getting us cool weather. Thank
I had
you.
something to do with that?
Yeah.
I could have done that all along.
Why not?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
We'll take credit.
Okay. There's something there. I appreciate it.
Then we'll get the plane.
Right, right.
Two-sided coin. Is that the way it always is? Yeah.
But fortunately, we're already used to that. So
Here for a staff update, and then some staff update. We really this month has been a kind of a continuation, some project planning and things that we're working on. Some of the normal, regular things, activations and different things we do for the departments, helping out the courts and their jury selection. They do have an end date for when we will be using the Wareham. Come the end of October, we won't be doing jury selections anymore over there. But they are, I think over the next 4 weeks, they've got 7 jury selections. So they're very, very busy. And so we're in there 6:30, 7 o'clock on those mornings and getting set up over there. Still working on that. Kind of winding down the PC rotation of Public Works. We're about halfway there, so we're doing well on that. Continued work on internet connections at the transfer station. Presently have a wireless solution, cellular, I should say it that way, a cellular solution that we're testing right now. Remind the commission on that. The T1 lines that are out there that are provided by AT&T will end in March next year. There is not another provider in that area at this time. I have been through talking with Cox and AT&T and their solutions. Hopefully, another vendor who's working on a grant process, waiting on approval, might be getting into the south part of the county if that happens. We will be first on the list, but if that all plays out, that would be an implementation they would have done by fall of 2024. They're looking at the potential award of that this year. And then they have 2 years from the award date to get work done. So, knock on wood that goes well, because I know in the short term it might be tough, but it would be great for us in the long term, because we won't actually have to fund the build out cost of a solution there. That'll be part of the grant that they could be receiving. So, that would be in the letters that you guys signed and supported, in particular that was WTC on the south side. Additionally, we have worked with WTC as replacing some of our connections at city and at airport, faster solution, more stable, less cost. I am in the process of looking at replacement of internet for the entire county as well. That's one of our biggest projects we've been working on. And working ahead of the new public safety building that will be going on, it will be built down in the Tecumseh area. Doing some talks with Dave and with Russell on the purpose of the building, not the layout, but the purpose, so that we can be planning ahead. We have equipment that we were looking to replace, that we would be signing into multi-year contracts on, 5, 7, even 10-year contracts, as well as internet connections. So we needed to be able to visit with them, or we have visited with them, to be able to plan ahead so that we're making the right purchases now that will last us the life of the product, not purchase something that will only be good for us a year or two, and then we have to replace it again. So in light of those discussions, between now and the summer of next year, we will be making some major changes in how our internet works. Right now, the internet connection we have feeds here at this campus, and actually over at the RCOB building. And then the other location connects to it. And if we were to lose internet here, health department would be down, EMS would be down, public works. We're going to change that so it's actually internet at each one of the campus locations, and so that when one is down, the others are still operational. Okay. That's going to take some work on our part, but it will benefit us and all of our staff in the long run. Especially the new building is to become the EOC, and an event like when the dam was, or the lake was getting full, and we're bringing in entities from multiple locations. That's the function of that building. We got to have internet. We got to have phones. And so we are working on those things now. Some other things. We finally gotten through the review of our penetration test, which was an internal and an external, checking some of our security measures. We will be working on and planning to implement some additional security changes. Some I would say we're a little behind the times on, actually, for Riley County, even though we do well, but multi-factor authentication is one of them that a lot of places are doing, and it's one we're going to begin to plan and to implement. That will take the ability to verify who you are when you sign into things like Office, or even all the way to your PC or laptop as well. Those are necessary in today's times with the way things are going out there in the not so good world of hackers and those kind of things that are trying to sabotage, steal, or just make life hard. We're moving forward. We've seen some proposals, demonstrations on product in regards to front paging and panic buttons. So we're moving on that. We're waiting on final pricing on a particular piece of hardware to go along with it. Russell and I and Chris, who I'll introduce here in just a second, I saw a demonstration on that, and that would be a countywide solution, so that we are looking at not just the building next door that has panic button options, but this would be a countywide solution in all of our locations. So that would be a benefit to everyone. Now, our AS400 replacement went very well. We didn't have any issues. Replaced over the weekend there in September. Everybody came in Monday morning at work just as if, you know, they didn't know anything happened. So really proud of how all that went. Working with Public Works, they're getting a fuel system upgrade. They're also replacing an imaging application they've had out there for a while. That's taken quite a little bit of my time in preparation on that and working with them, but that's going well. We will begin the replacement of Public Works server and storage this Friday, actually, replacing everything they have out there. Couple of applications that we've been working with as of late. OpenGov, we're finally getting some movement on that to get files correctly up to OpenGov out of our financial system. And so we will begin to move those out and move that process forward. Planning and Development is working with GovBuild this week and their new application. And so we've worked with them and making sure their system works with our email and everybody has access as they need. We also are going to begin to plan a wireless network upgrade throughout the entire county. We've had our controller and our access points for 10 plus years. And so it's time that we begin to do an upgrade on that. There's a lot more efficient equipment out there now. So we will be doing that across. We're also going to be looking into doing some public access locations as well. We had a couple, there was a circuit that we turned off Public Works down in the basement in the conference room down there. There used to be public internet down there on a circuit that was costing us $800 a month just to have public internet down there. We turned that off several months ago and we will be replacing that. That circuit actually was a tie-in to the old energy project that was done with the wind towers and so forth, and it continued to be paid and found it on a bill, and we turned that off. So it wasn't necessary to have, because we can provide a solution that's a lot more cost effective than that. GIS department, we are waiting on the receiving of our latest ortho. So that's being ready to be delivered to us, the latest flight. They've been working hard on a damage assessment application to work with emergency management, appraisers and so forth. So events like the storm that happened, they could go out and use that application. It will tie back into our data the way they can do a quicker job of getting the damage assessment reports created and so forth. They have also been working with GovBuild and planning and development, because there is a map aspect to that application when they're out in the field and working and so forth. They've also the annexation in Leonardville City in regards to the new EMS building up there, and then working on annexation with Manhattan in regards to Scorpion Biologics and so forth, that going in. And then they did a countywide upgrade of their application on all systems that are running ArcGIS Pro, upgrading them to version 3, the latest that's there. I want to introduce our new hire. Got our network system administrator position filled. This is Chris Schneider. Chris is in the 2 weeks time, he's done wonderful. He's doing a great job. I've been holding on to a few things, and I'm trying not to overwhelm. My list of stuff is long, and so I don't want to overwhelm too much. Chris has got a great background, very diverse background. He's worked for Leisner Oil, Salina, what's the regional hospital. He's even taught some classes at Martin County Community College. He's Manhattan native, family here and so forth. And I tell you what, very, very pleased so far with what we're doing. And I like Chris's vision of things and where we're going. He's going to be very instrumental in the changes that we have coming up with internet and so forth. He's done a lot of that work already. So very excited, pleased to have Chris here. And on a different note, though, Kevin McConty out of my office is leaving. His last day will be October 6th. He going to work for a different business here in town. They offer a very they offer a better fringe package and so forth than what we have in regards to vacation, a better life balance, I guess, as well. And so I'm going to wish him the best. He's going to be tough to replace. Kevin came to us from actually out in Ford County, where he already had county experience. That's tough to find. And he's done great work for us. Really appreciate everything he's done. Do wish him the best. I think he'll do good things. He's a very hard worker. But on that note, I do need to ask for approval to refill that position. And I would like to have the ability to get that posted immediately. Elizabeth is here as well to answer any questions on that. But it is a crucial position to our department.
Any changes to the description? I didn't.
That position has been revamped in the recent history. I think that Corey is looking at some position description changes in the future, but at this point, we will be the same.
Can we put a non-Nebraska clause in there, though?
Absolutely not. Nebraska resident preferred.
No, the other way. Come on. You got purple on yourself today. Come on, we got to keep working on that. No, I absolutely think it's a crucial position. So I
will
don't.
We be posting with the January changes?
Yeah, we are kind of yes and no. So what we're doing is we know where we're going in January. So we're using our current pay scale to post at the closest rate to that. And that's what we've done in several of the positions. So it should help us get it filled.
All right.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
We know where we will be at something and we'll adjust to that.
Okay.
I got it. I mean, I keep talking to people, and seems like there's a whole list of IT I'll say professionals out there in and around the area looking for employment. I don't know where all the chips fall and fill, but you know, you should be able to get it filled pretty fast, I would think. I mean, it's a little different when you're talking about networking and some other things, but you know.
We have a couple of key points, and as long as they have some background in our areas where we work the most, then definitely. But it just does depend on where the background comes from, and we do want to get the right fill as well, though. It took a while to fill the network system administrator, but I'm glad we did the wait, because I do think Chris is going to do great there. But our department is strong. We've got a lot of years of experience between the rest of us, and we've done the work all the way from the bottom up. So we won't lose a beat. We have
Commissioner
before.
Court, you're not wrong. There are, in my experience, and I've been recruiting IT now for just about 10 years. There are a lot of IT professionals. We have a unique situation in a couple areas, like he talked about technical skills, but also customer service skills. That we have a standard of pretty high customer service here, and sometimes IT professionals are more used to sitting behind a desk or remoting in and not being able to talk to a non-IT person and get us all that information. And maybe some of you can relate and not necessarily understanding.
Just go ahead and say it, non-personality.
Well, I'm just saying, there are aspects, they're just like everyone else, they're IT professionals scan the gamut, and we've got to find that, just like you said, that fit. And it is a little bit unique here.
Yeah, at that role and frontline, answering the phone, out in the offices, face to face, it is important that the social skills aspect is there. We do obviously need some technical background, but in hiring that, we do look at their ability to interact well, explain things. We put them through a series of questions when we interview on that, so that we get that comfort feeling. That's why it's important for Elizabeth or whomever might also sit in on the interviews. How do they feel in that interaction? Sometimes IT, we get our blinders a little bit in our world of IT, but how was the social interaction part of that? Do you feel like it could be explained and interact well? Because that's very crucial. Then there's just their aptitude to learn. We have great staff. We can put through a lot of training and things like that. So those are key points there. But we're looking for that mix, and we've done well in the past, and we'll do well again in IT.
We will. I'm pretty confident that with what we're offering, we will be able to fill the position, and just be.
So I am asking for an approval to refill that position.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion to allow IT GIS department to proceed with the refill of the information technology specialist position.
I would second that.
Moved and seconded to allow IT to proceed with refill the position. All in favor?
And thank you, Commission. And once again, I'll introduce you to here's Chris Schneider, and you will hear and see of him plenty as you do all of us. So
Anytime it's convenient, can I meet with the both of you?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That may actually have more to do with me than you guys. We'll try to figure it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely not a problem. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Great.
Or 9:55. Oh, I thought it was 10:05.
You are 10:05.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm down. I'm down. Oh, like empty.
Or it's behind.
They did announce it. We replaced Dayton, and they announced that yesterday too.
Well, yeah, technically,
They moved somebody
Next
else.
guy entering.
His protege, JJ Piccolo,
Okay, that's the name.
will be taking over his job and those duties and responsibilities until they find whomever. I guess probably if you're thinking about time, I mean, obviously for the Royals, the season's over. So doing it now before the end of the season, before all those real firings happens, probably puts them a leg up on finding the right person, I would guess. And I don't know what the mindset there is. I really don't. You got a lot of young talent.
Yes, they be pitching.
They need the pitching. I think if you're going to spend money at this point in time, that's where it needs to go. A couple of those guys I think will move along and be okay, but you don't have a superstar out of that bunch. You drafted high on all those. You have to hit on it. And Royals through the last 30 years, that's the way it's been. They just don't hit on pitching.
Whatever they've been good, they are.
Yeah.
They've had plenty of high draft.
Yeah. I mean, Greinke wasn't a high draft choice himself, but that kind of worked out. Ventura was probably the other one, but outside of that, nothing.
Good morning, commissioners. I always tell people that there's only 3 times of the year. There's pre-tax sale, there's tax sale, and there's post-tax sale. And we're in post-tax sale, though pre-tax sale starts here in about 3 weeks. The matter I have before you this morning is that when we start a tax sale, we pay for a title company to do a title report for all the properties that we have. The purpose of that report is to verify that we have the proper owner. 2, to make sure we have the right legal description. And 3, they're to locate for us any lien interest, mortgage interest, any other entities or people out there that have an interest in the property. Because if there is a lien, if there is a mortgage, then we have to list those individuals along with the property owner as defendants in our tax case. Because if we sell the property at a tax auction, we extinguish all liens and mortgages. Unfortunately, we had a property that was just brought to our attention here a couple of weeks ago that had a mortgage on it, which our title report did not pick up. And the property was lot 70, Grandeur Vista, edition number 3. That was sold. Interestingly enough, there's some coincidences here. The person who bought the property went to the bank, who just happened to have the mortgage that was not identified in our title report. And I'm sure the confirmation was, well, how did you buy this property? We've got a mortgage on it. And then I get a phone call from the bank. And so what we have to do is we have to set aside that sale to the buyer, because we not knowing that the bank had a mortgage, we didn't identify them. We gave them no notice that their interest was in jeopardy. And so we have to set the sale aside from this tax sale. We'll put it in the next case that starts in a couple of months, and we have to do it right. We have to give the bank notice and move forward on that. By statute, if we set aside a sale, then we have to refund the purchase price along with interest. Now, the statute does say that the interest is cut off at the date we're notified of the issue. So that was September 7th for us. In talking with the property owner, he was a little agitated when I first talked to him, because right away he'd spent money to build a house on that property. He contacted an engineering firm to get a survey done. It's in Grand Mirror, and he had to get a design review done by their homeowners association. And so he did incur some expenses in addition to the purchase price. I itemized those expenses for you. The only amount that we're paying interest on is the purchase price. But I've got invoices for all the expenses listed there And we're going to need to reimburse not only the purchase price, but those expenses at this point in time. We can do this refund without impacting our tax distribution to the entities that get, the tax funds from the sale. We charge every parcel in the tax case a court cost. And I think this year it was $165, and we collect that on every parcel. And so out of those funds, which and court costs go to the county, out of those funds, we can make this reimbursement without impacting the actual tax distribution that we do after we do a tax auction. So the school districts, the city, even us, we'll get what tax money is available from the sale. We'll get that. We're going to make the refund from these court costs that we generated, which is funds that we can keep. Is to help cover our expense of doing a tax sale. Now, I will say that I have contacted the title company and made them aware of this situation, and they were going to go back and look at their work product, and I'll be getting with them next week, and we're going to have a discussion about that. So
Yeah, how did they miss that?
That's my first thought is if we don't need to pay for this,
No.
they do.
well, but we
Purchase price.
need to pay it now just to take care of the buyer, but then yeah, we do need to have that discussion with the title company. Correct.
And my second question is, how did the buyer purchase that property? Didn't he have some other legal complications, for lack of a better term?
Yeah.
How did he buy it?
Not anymore.
Well, I mean, everybody's buying them.
She's
That's it.
What was your question?
Okay,
Commissioner
that
Coyle?
was, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I will tell you that the chain of title in the property is real interesting in that an LLC owned it, and then they sold it to an individual. It was an LLC who had the mortgage with the bank. When they sold the property to the individual, now I think it was probably somebody who was part of the LLC, but when they sold it to the person, the mortgage was not released from the property. That original company still paid the mortgage when they sold the property to the individual. So if the title company checked the individual's name, there was no mortgage with him on the property, but they also should have checked the real estate. I mean, the legal description. If they do that, they find the mortgage. And so, yeah, I had a discussion with them already, and they said, yeah, we normally do that. We check the name and the real estate. I said, well,
You didn't hear.
And
That's the cost.
well, I said, you missed it somehow. And so I'm going to meet with them next week, and we're going to have that discussion, and I'll keep you advised as to that. But yeah, they made the mistake, though it kind of publicly it makes us look bad, because we do the public sale and depend upon our paid professionals, in this case, the title company, to tell us what we need to know. So
We need a damn good explanation on that.
And I'll get that for you, but I just wanted, we have these court costs that we can pay this out of, that doesn't impact any of the other tax generating entities.
I understand.
And we
I still have to take
care of
issue.
this buyer, because it's not his fault. But
Who was the LLC?
what's that?
What company was the LLC?
It was called Pin High LLC, And I mean, and then the property owner that we had for the tax sale was a John Chandler. And I think he was probably an investor in that LLC. That's why they did, convey the mortgage on to take care of it. But it doesn't make any difference, the title company should have picked that up.
But the 6,700, has it already been distributed to the other? You're talking about it goes to all the other entities.
That's why Charlotte's here, because she does all the money part of it. So I'll let her explain that.
So we had originally taken that 6,700 and applied it towards the back taxes, which it was not enough to cover the taxes. We were going to have to abate off quite a bit. We have since reversed that payment. So now those taxes are still sitting as delinquent and the money is sitting in our tax sale fund, ready to reimburse the buyer at the tax sale.
Because then it'll go back for 23's tax sale then, is that the?
Absolutely. This property will be in a 23 case and we'll move forward on it. Now that we know there's a bank in play, the property may, and the taxes may take care of themselves, but yeah.
And like I say, the 6,700 we get back, but the difference, the $1,000, I think, the other 1,000 that we're paying.
Sure,
I think the
sure.
title
And
company
that's the discussion, I'll be having with the title companies next week. Yeah, we need to have that discussion. We do.
I mean, that mistake shouldn't be put back at the taxpayer's expense.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
And definitely keep us updated on that.
I will. I just wanted to update you on that. There's two parts here. We have to do the money part that Shiloh does to get that money back to the buyer. And then what I have to do is we've documented with the court this property sold. So I've got a motion on file to set aside the sale and the order's pending for the judge to approve that. So we got to actually correct our court proceeding to document that this property did not sell. And so we have all that just about in place. Probably will all be in place next week. But like I say, I'll talk to the title company next week and come back and keep you updated on that. I mean, the last sale was my 9th sale. This is the first time this has happened. So, I mean, in this regard, in that regard, with this mistake should never happen.
No, yeah.
But it's the first time we've had to set aside a sale. So, Commissioner Folke?
You said something about he had already built a house on it, the new buyer or the old buyer?
No, the new buyer was already in the process to do the work to build a house on it.
Okay.
Because it's up in Grand Mirror.
Yeah.
So it's a nice location. So he got a survey done and did some kind of a review with the Grand Mirror Homeowners Association for what kind of building you get put up. And he had some expenses in it, so we have to reimburse that.
It's a pretty inexpensive lot for up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I would buy that.
Yeah,
Well, but we're talking about the tax on it. We're not talking about,
the purchase
right,
price.
and the actual purchase
Okay.
price.
That's still a lower taxes for up there.
When they were talking just a lot in a good spot, you're not talking with structures and everything else on it that would substantially increase that, which is what we hope for in the end,
Right.
obviously.
I mean, he was doing the right thing for us.
Right.
Planning to build a house on it. So, yeah.
Well, in the interest of time, I guess, unless anybody has any other questions. Okay.
I just want to advise you of this development tax and the ramifications for us, and I'll get back with you on that.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and move that the board approve the reversal of the sale of item 3445 Vanessa Drive and request the reimbursement of cost.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve reversal of sale and request for reimbursement of costs. All in favor?
One second, we have a secondary motion. I'll move the board approve the reversal of the sale and request for reimbursement after the following.
Right.
You said there was 2 things we had to do.
No, I said I had to do 2 things. We went to refund and we had to do the court proceeding, but you made the proper motion. Yeah, you made the proper motion. I'm sorry.
You got something.
I confused you.
This will be quick and easy. That's good. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So summer was busy and then September kicked in a whole new year. So it's been a little bit a lot to handle, but we're doing okay. I've been trying to help out HR as much as possible with communication, kind of serving as the first person to contact when people have questions and trying to just assist with that. And it takes up quite a bit of time. We had several major communications events in September. First, the Windy Hill Road fire on September 8th, 30 acres were burned. And it's hard to see the picture, but that's one of our fire trucks out in fields doing the work. We also had, and we talked about this on Tuesday, the severe thunderstorm warning and siren activation.
So we've got some follow-up communication plan to help with public education. And I think going pretty well. I'm meeting with Russell and Lori, and we're making sure they're doing a lot to help me understand how the system is used and what the public needs to know. So that's been very helpful. Some new COVID developments. I didn't include this year, but yesterday we had no patients in the hospital, which was the first time that's happened since May. So we're making good progress, thankfully. And the health department is now offering free in-person COVID testing by appointment. It's that drive-up testing, so people get to stay in their vehicle and a staff member comes out and does the nasal swab, and they have results within 30 minutes. And now the new bivalent booster doses of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are available, and they're being administered at the health department. So they've had quite a few people visiting in the first few days to get that dose that covers the Omicron variant. That's the major change, that they've kind of added more information, if you will, to the vaccine to cover people for the Omicron variants. I think BA4 and BA5. The employee recognition has gone really well, except of course for this morning when I didn't know it was happening and I was not here.
Surprise! You're surprised as the gentleman who won.
It was. I heard he had a very good reaction.
Yes.
That we were able to do that for him. But thankfully, since everybody has a camera on their phone, they took pictures for me, and you guys had wonderful smiles. So thank you. This kind of leads into some of the networking education. I was very proud of the fact that I got to participate in some NBAF planning, and they focused a lot on pride as they're talking about the audience and how best to get their information to the public, both here locally in our county in Kansas, the nation, and across the world about the work that they will be doing. And we talked a lot about kind of pride and ownership and the pride that people feel in Riley County for what we do here and what we offer here. And I feel like that is a large part of why it's important to celebrate staff as well. So I've been I started doing interviews of the employee of the month and trying to tell a little bit of the story of what people do. That last picture of Sharon, I heard all kinds of fascinating stories about her work with Extension, and it's a good tool for me to get to know the staff as well and find out all the millions of things that we do here at Riley County that I had no idea. And then that empowers me to share that with the public. So kind of a good way to celebrate what we do here. And then the Kansas Association of Public Information Officers conference was last week. In addition to like every conference in the state, it seems like a lot of staff were out at conferences last week. So, but it went very well. I learned a lot. I presented one session about the flooding in 2019. So brought a lot of those memories back. It feels like a lifetime ago, but it was only a couple of years. And oddly enough, I started this type of work in November of 17. And we had flash flooding in 18. Then we had the Tuttle Creek flooding in 19. We had some flooding downtown in 19. We had the pandemic in 20. We had a tornado in 22. I feel like there's been a lot in these few years. So a lot of experience that I've hopefully gained from that. Only 6 news releases in September. It was busy internally, but not a lot of big events, which is good or bad. I'm going to go ahead and knock on wood because September is not over. Talking really fast just to try and keep up. Social media growing slowly. You'll notice this is a Riley County Emergency Management Facebook page with all of the questions and interest in that siren sounding for the strong winds. We had the happy side effect of gaining 350 followers who will be seeing our Facebook posts. So that's a fortunate side effect. Website saying about the same. And by the end of this year, I'm kind of making a pledge today that I will find a way to make marriage license and divorce information easier for people to find, so they are not the top searches over and over and over again.
Are they searching for both of them at the same time? Trying to weigh options? I'm just curious on that.
I'm not searching for prenup, so
Okay.
I'm not sure how that's going.
So I thought maybe, they're kind of deciding and weighing and figured taking, both options just in case.
Search exit strategy.
Right.
Oh, I hope not. And then, thank you. It's been a good month and I appreciate all of your support and interest. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Whew. I tried to talk as fast as I could.
I've looked this a whole bunch of times, so thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So I do need to change one. What did I do? There we go. Okay. And I'm off to a tabletop.
At once.
All right. Thank you so much.
What are my afternoon plans?
Stretch.
They're trying to keep the blood flowing.
I'll send you all.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Good morning, commissioners. Today, on behalf of the Douglas W. and Rebecca S. Pishney Trust, Doug and Rebecca Pishney have made application with Raleigh County Planning and Development requesting approval of a residential use designated for extraneous farmstead for an unplatted tract of land and to plat the property into a single lot. The subject property is generally located approximately 3,740 feet south of Parallel Road on the west side of Sweet Creek Road. I know at the Parallel Road at this location is the county line between Raleigh County and Marshall County. The subject site. The subject site consists of a 0.81 acre unplatted tract developed with a single family residence constructed in approximately 1976, remodeled in 1996, and a 1.89 acre portion of a contiguous undeveloped and unplatted tract of land. The applicant wishes to assemble some additional acreage surrounding the homestead, plat it into a single lot and sell it off from the existing lot. The proposed enlargement of the home tract is to come into compliance with the sanitary code. The site has been zoned AG agricultural district since at least 1974. Most of the property surrounding the site is zoned AG agricultural district shown in gray, except with the exception of lot 1 of the Paget addition shown here in green, which was rezoned to single family residential in July of 2007. There are no special uses, variances, or conditional uses associated with the property. Raleigh County Fire District will continue to serve the site. The nearest county fire station is the Sweet Creek Fire Station, which is located at 8360 Sweet Creek Road. The property is not located within 5 road miles, which results in an ISO rating of 10. Let's skip this. This is the preliminary plat illustrating the orientation and location of the lot's boundaries, the house, accessory buildings, and propane tank. The subject site directly abuts Sweet Creek Road, which is a gravel 2-lane local road maintained by the township. There are no new entrances being proposed with this request. And this is the final plat of the property with no changes from the preliminary plat. Few pics of this site. Again, we are talking about an established homestead wishing to expand the land area to meet the requirements of the sanitary code. This is looking westerly along the proposed south boundary of the proposed lot. The limestone outbuilding will be included with the new lot. Looking in a more northwesterly direction, you can see the outbuilding in relation to the proximity of the existing family single family residence. The photo also illustrates how the proposed lot slopes toward the south, away from the home. Same location looking north. This pic illustrates the proximity of the homestead to Sweet Creek Road. And a little bit closer, this is looking directly west from Sweet Creek Road. This is the home that occupies the property. It's a little bit further north. This is again looking west. This pic shows the home and the driveway and the garage in the background.
September 12th this year, the Riley County Planning Board heard the request, having no concerns. The Riley County Planning Board approved the request for a residential use designator for an extraneous farmstead, and also approved the concurrent plat of Pishney Edition. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners acknowledge the approved final plat of Pishney Edition, accepting any easements, rights of way, or licenses as shown to be dedicated on the final plat. That's all we have. If you have any questions for me, I'm glad to.
I wanted to just clarify, you said it does meet the land development regulations for sanitary, okay.
Yeah, but it does now. See, the problem is the, get the mouse to work. There we go. Okay, so this is the homestead tract right here. This is the rest of it around us.
Mhm.
And the lateral field is sitting across this line here. They need to replace that lateral field. It can't be stretched across the property boundary. That's an issue. And again, they want to set it up so it's not a compliance issue for the next person. That's all.
I heard you mention it and I didn't hear, that's just me. If you said yes or no on that, so I just wanted to clarify. Yeah. Okay. I don't, as per usual, I don't see any issues. It's pretty standard. Then I can go and make a motion to approve resolution 092222. That's 4 twos. Acknowledging the approved final plat of the Pishney Edition and accepting easements, right of ways, or licenses as shown to be dedicated on the final plat, as it has been determined that the minimum requirements of the Riley County Land Development Regulation and Sanitary Code have been met.
Can I second that?
Been moved and second to approve the resolution, approving the final plat of the Pishney Edition, accept the easements right of ways. All in favor?
Aye.
And we have a Mylar up here on the table for you. Here's the new spot. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hold on one second. I need to make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health, please.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of Commissioners and convene Board of Health. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning. So I have before you a completed grant application that I'm asking permission to submit to KDHE tomorrow. It is due tomorrow. This is a joint application for the Wildcat region. So it does include Geary and Potawatomi County and Riley County as the fiscal agent. This grant came across my desk last week and I really couldn't pass it up with the rise in opioid use that we have across the state and across the counties. So we decided to apply jointly for this. I did do a little homework before and I reached out to other entities to make sure that no one else in the area was applying for this grant. I did reach out to USD 383. They are not applying for this grant, but I did get some valuable information from Kari Hughes, who is the drug and alcohol counselor there at USD 383. She gave me some data that I included in this grant. That was from the Communities That Care survey that the students complete. I also reached out to Dr. Wade and he was very supportive of this grant as well. He will supply a letter of support later this afternoon. I did learn that Leslie Campbell, the director at Potawatomi County Health Department, was planning on applying. So I reached out to her and to Charles Martinez, who is the deputy director at Geary County Health Department. We came together last Friday to talk about jointly applying for this grant, as we thought it would be more attractive if we applied for it as a region, as a Wildcat region, rather than all separately. These two health departments did receive funding in 2020, so they were able to implement some successful programs. So we kind of took from that and took from lessons that they learned from their mistakes from that to really make a good application, or what I think is a strong application. We do share a lot of resources. We share a lot of the same individuals in our region, and we already work so well together on our FEP grant, which we have for years, the FEP regional grant. So we decided to jointly apply for this. We also share the fact that we see a lot of the rise in opioid overdose in our emergency departments. I received some valuable information from Josh Gearing at Emergency Services. They are seeing a lot more runs related to opioid overdose in this year than they have in the past years. So we know it's made headlines with our schools, with some overdoses in our schools. And so we thought it was a worthwhile issue to attack. So we decided to, again, apply jointly. We can only ask for 50,000. We asked for just a little under that. Only 50% can go towards salaries. No more than 50% can go to salaries. So we decided with this funding, if we were to receive this funding, we would hire a part-time community health specialist to work across the 3 counties, working a lot in the schools, not to duplicate efforts in the schools, but to assist with their programs in the schools, potentially bring some speakers into the schools to really raise awareness and educate individual students and parents about this issue. We're hoping with these efforts that we can overall reduce our opioid use and overdose and deaths in the area. We would also look at our referral process from the emergency department. Once a person presents as an overdose into the emergency department, we're going to work with them to determine what's next, what are the next steps, and hopefully to really define that referral process and hopefully to work more with our IRIS system. So the IRIS system is shared with 3 counties. We all use the IRIS system. We really look at that to enhance that referral process from the emergency department out to the treatment that the individual might need. With that being said, I might also mention, I mentioned this in the application, but there is low availability to treatment services in our area when it comes to this issue. So a lot of individuals have to drive to Topeka or even further to get inpatient services that they might need if they have this issue. So any questions about this?
Unfortunately, there's a big need for that. Right?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Will this person be on Riley County payroll or the?
Yeah, it will go through the Riley County as a fiscal agent. Yeah. We won't house them anywhere. They'll be out in the field. We'll have to have joint meetings with that individual so that we make sure that they're progressing and keeping on track and evaluating. But I think this will just help us to connect more, collaborate more. There was a lot that we got done last Friday, not just talking about the application, but talking about COVID vaccines and things like that, that I think we need to come together more on. So I'm hoping that this will be the driver for that as well.
Now we got other issues, people cooking chickens and NyQuil now.
So bad.
Chicken and NyQuil.
That's the latest TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I heard last night.
Ew, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the taste that's the deal there. I think maybe, I don't know. But
Alcohol
anyway,
in NyQuil.
something. So anyway, challenges abroad. Yeah.
I say NyQuil. Poison too.
Proving once again the needs there. That was good. So, and Julie, refresh my memory, because this is the first time we've applied for this. That's for a full year, right?
For a full year,
Okay.
yeah. This would be the first time that we've applied for this specific grant. Before my time, they had some opioid interns that worked at the health department for another related grant back in 2018.
We applied for something under this when Andrew was here. That feels like eternity ago, so
Yeah.
I'll just leave it for now. Okay. Anything else, anybody? Okay. I'll go ahead and approve then that the Board of Health approve the grant application and allow Riley County Health Department to serve as the fiscal agent for this grant in the Wildcat region.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the grant application and allow the department to serve as the fiscal agent for this grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Need to come out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's ready to come back. And I am curious, why do we schedule Julie at two separate times?
It just was what was open or available.
Because then we're gonna have to reconvene and recess again.
Do we have to do that for every item from the health department? Not just once a month?
Well, that's a great question. I'm assuming so.
What kind of item?
For the health
Board of
department.
Health, yeah, Board of Health, because I thought it was, we have to do it like quarterly. Even whenever it's statistically, we have to have the Board of Health meeting.
We do.
Statute thing, yeah, but I didn't know if we had to adjourn and reconvene all the time.
Yeah. If it's something
If it's something
administrative and fiscal, which this definitely would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as Board of Health and reconvene as Board of County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
You're on.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't have a colorful PowerPoint for you this time.
Oh, you're done.
I've got a list of things.
Oh,
Are you disappointed?
Very
Yeah.
disappointed.
Oh, gosh darn. Well, we'll do the best
we
we
like
can.
bullets. We like bright shines.
I know.
Sparkles.
I'll have to remember to include glitter on my
Yeah.
next PowerPoint. Thank you for having me. And I'm a week late, so I apologize for that, but
Got 0 for 2.
yeah, I know. So just some updates on some things going. Medicare enrollment starts October 15th, and Megan does that, of course, and runs through December 7th. And as a reminder, she helped 217 clients last year and saved them
$302,000 in Medicare prescriptions. So she's going to be a very busy lady here coming up pretty soon. She gets booked and then she gets questions throughout the year. So that's one thing that's coming up. And then I wanted you to all get the extension annual meeting date on your calendar. It's Thursday, November 3rd this year, or about a month earlier than normal. And that's just due to some things that we have to take care of. December gets pretty late. So that is a Thursday evening rather than a Wednesday evening. And I'm working on the location right now, but it will be somewhere, of course, in the city of Manhattan, just for convenience sake. Also got a program of my own lined up at the request of Sarah Haybarker at the maternal child health of the Riley County Health Department to do a program on financial items for young parents, budgeting, saving, reducing debt. So I'm going to do 3 hour-long sessions, October 4th, 11th, and 18th for them at the Riley County Health Department. And then I've also been working with Manhattan High School representatives on a program for high school juniors and seniors, or maybe just seniors. That's not determined yet. It'll be November 2nd. And the K-State Credit Union is partnering with us to present the materials there. But the idea I actually stole from a national meeting that I went to. John, you'd be interested in knowing this came from Kentucky, where they did extension professionals presented and worked with others to present a program on high schools for seniors the fall of their senior year, and talking to them about things they need to know, whether they're going to post-secondary education or going out to the workforce. So we're going to try to get that things to be the trial run, first time we've ever done this. And I think it will just be a morning program on that day, but I've had some great cooperation from Manhattan High School personnel and from the K-State Credit Union on that. And I'm also working on a grant proposal with Epsilon Sigma Phi, which is an extension fraternity to help offset some of the costs for materials and things. So that's another part of that. 4-H Achievement Banquet is going to be held October 30th. That'll be a Sunday evening. And as an aside, National 4-H Week will be October 2nd through the 8th. So you're going to be seeing things from our 4-H clubs. And as a matter of fact, I just met with Amanda this week, and I talked to John. So I'm telling you now, instead of sending you an email, that we're all in on the battery disposal thing, and he will promote that with 4-H club leaders to properly dispose of batteries. So all we'll need is your materials that you'll have for us, the stickers and flyers and stuff. So anyway.
Any time on that banquet? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not off the top of my head. It's usually 6 o'clock.
That's good.
Yeah, 5:30, 6 o'clock. So that will be coming up here pretty quickly. And it's fall after all today, correct? And we're into that time of year.
Figuratively and literally.
We've been waiting for that. The Riley County Rural Economic Development Board met yesterday. Amanda and both Commissioner Folke were there, and we had a very productive meeting with Diane Hubler talking about the new Zinedale Community Center. I thought that was really interesting. They're moving forward with that, trying to get some money appropriated, not from the county, but from private funds and other places to get that thing rolling. So that's going to be an added benefit to Riley County, we think, for rural communities, a place to go since they tore the old school building down. And then we also had a pretty lively discussion on the child care issue that both they and my Extension Program Development Committee and Community Vitality has been discussing about the shortage of child care workers in Manhattan. Apparently we do have plenty of places, but they can't find the workers, as Commissioner Folke had kind of reminded me. And so we've got a gentleman by the name of Logan Stensing coming to Riley County and out of Public Works on the evening of October 26th. First of all, as a listening session to talk about those problems once again. And I know they've been hashed over several times, but the second half of that meeting is to help train people to be advocates for the benefits of good child care at the state level. So, and child care fund, whether it's tax credits or whatever that might be for child care centers. So that's another thing we're working on.
Couple more things, and I don't think I got everything on your list that you have in front of you. We are planning to attend the county employees luncheon or program on October 10th. And lastly, I will end with something that I know I didn't put on the list there, is we actually got to have a listening session with President Richard Linton, the new president of Kansas State University, on September 1st. He got together with us that evening as counties surrounding Riley County, and he's doing those in every area of the state because he is maybe one of the few presidents that Kansas State University has had who understands the mission of the land grant system, that is teaching, research, and extension. And oftentimes extension is left off that list, but he's very interested. He's got a good background in extension and knows what it can do for the people out in the state that aren't here on campus. So we're really excited about that. And just the other day, we also had a local unit director meeting, county extension directors such as myself or district extension directors. And he wanted to address the group and tell them how important he thought that extension was and helping provide programs throughout the state of Kansas for taxpayers who help fund the university. So I'm willing to take any questions. Do you have any thoughts or ideas? You'll all be getting an invitation for the annual meeting, but be sure and get that on there. And I think with 4-H Achievement Banquet as well, and the October 26th child care meeting. So, all right, that was easy. Thank you very much.
We did good.
Oh, yes. I talked to former communications director Jeff Morris. Conversation. Talking about the last two presidents and had the
I've been thinking about you.
same vision on it.
Oh, I'm in trouble then.
I definitely have to change my earlier thought and say that it should be October now.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, oh, it's just you and me now over 2 weeks, so nothing goes wrong.
I got a stack of paper, but just in place you left.
Just, I think just in case, yeah, that's what it's just in case, yeah. Yeah, we had it just in case too, so.
We'll get through it.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I thought I just thought, and I didn't ever got 5 minutes, but I thought I'm gonna call and give him a hard time and say, okay, just, you're my guy this next 2 weeks. Yeah, good, good. Thank you. See. Sounds. Snippy. Every time I say
What direction is that flying?
No, that's something like I said.
I think these windows are just getting worse and worse.
which I think we want to work on. Yeah, oh, yeah, right. But I mean, you could admit, like, hey, I know something. Yeah, well, I know.
Just the props. Which this time of the year is kind of pointless.
Surprisingly. English lab. Supposedly smaller than.
already 14, so a little older.
I mean, it's, I just don't, I don't really know that now.
So this is
I know that number.
my business. And so this is her little baby. Well, not the littlest toddler. Day one. Just for public. About half much wants a number.
It's when you play that 6 minutes. Really, hold the breath. That's the next.
Raise your hands like I do.
Yeah, so if they talk about him, they're like they're top.
And I'm so conscious about it sometimes.
Yeah,
Like, the more excited I get, the bigger.
Yeah, some have to tell me about that. I don't know if I get bigger when I get more excited, but I am unconscious of the fact that I do that. I mean, I'm told I do that, you know. I kind of realize, I kind of realize it, you know, I mean, but it kind of comes to hand when you do trial work, because you have to course really around talking, you know, you need to keep people's attention.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. Just
As far as I know, I don't have any Italian heritage in me, you know, they always say Italian stuff with their hands. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. I just was, we're in that same boat together. And it does, it's engaging, can be visual.
Again. I've been watching some historical movies, you know, and back in the old days, you know, the public orators always had a lot of hand motion. You know, it's kind of what they did back in those days.
It comes, it's natural. We're gonna have like a presidential. Ones too. Good morning again, commissioners. I'm here today to talk to you about Employee Day. And we have been having an employee-focused, dedicated development day at Riley County annually since 2006. We do that on Columbus Day, which is a federal holiday. And I think I mentioned on Monday, we exchanged that federal holiday for Black Friday prior to 2006 at some point. And so that has been a work day, a required work day since then. This year, that day will be on October 10th, so Monday, October 10th. And we would
traditionally, and what we're proposing is the county offices would be closed to the public, and yet we would all participate together in a group setting at Rock Hills Church this year for professional development. And, you know, we have attachment, we have an agenda of the activities planned for the day. We also have some budgeted numbers for you to look at for the day. And it will be very similar. All of you participated last year, or you know, participated in the conversation last year. So it will be a very similar format as far as starting and ending at the same times, having some team building components as well as some development components, excuse me. We will have some options for departments. There's one main session and then some options for departments to choose from at the end of the day, and some options for employees to choose from in the middle of the day. The only big difference and a kind of a exciting and good difference for this year is that we will be in one location. We do continue to have the virtual option available. We want particularly some of our people who cannot leave their sites, such as EMS, to be able to participate if they're not on a call. Also, if someone has a significant health-related concern where they need to not be in a room with 250 people, then we can evaluate that option as well. And so I will mention, obviously you've read it, I will mention that the total cost that we're asking for this year is $15,880. $55. That comes out to be $64.82 per employee. And as you know, you've recently approved several development opportunities for different departments, and you know, that per employee cost is really unheard of. We're talking hundreds, if not thousands of dollars if the conference or training is out of town. The other thing that I would point out is, again, I would talk to you about the value of these events would be to increase trust, to mitigate conflict, to help us, you know, have our employees be more engaged, more involved. The other major component is that by being together, it really reinforces that one Riley County instead of our individual compartmentalized departments, which I think is really important for us to see that we all work together. So I did give you some numbers there about turnover rates and the cost of that. And we've been talking a lot about that this year. So I certainly can answer questions, but I don't know if you want me to go into detail. And then, of course, the agenda is attached as well. And I can certainly speak to any of those components as well, if you'd like. I will point out, I did bring some of the members of the planning team. So Vivian and Amanda and Russell are here. They're all part of the training and development team. There are quite a few other employees involved on that as well. And then I asked Daryl to come too, just to confirm that we do have this money budgeted. It's not an extra request. It's something that's already been approved in our budget. Oh, yes, thanks for pointing that out. And it is less than last year. Last year, we did ask for $17,654. So that cost was up over $72 per employee. So heading in the right direction. And I guess I would also point out that that's the maximum cost. One of these components is a financial wellness course that employees can sign up for. And so hopefully we do have employees that partake in that. We limited the participation to 50 employees. And if we have more than that, we can, you know, offer that again next year. But if for some reason we don't have as many people sign up as that, the cost would not be, we wouldn't spend that money.
Yeah, 50 each session then, or 50 total?
50 for the financial wellness is our limit there, but overall.
There's two.
Oh, no, let me explain that. So there's a presentation for everyone that we don't have a limit on. So there's an hour-long presentation on financial wellness. And then those that would like to dig deeper into their personal financial wellness, there is a 6 to 8 week course that they can sign up for. And that's the extra cost. Yeah, we don't, with the $4,000 that we have, there is not cost for that one speaker. That is for the entire 6 to 8 week program. If
that's separate after this presentation.
Correct. Yeah. So example, and it's Financial Peace University. We have a trained speaker or trainer, I guess is what it would be. And so they would get all of those resources and be able to look at their own finances. But then the kind of the value of this particular person is we've already briefed them on all of our financial opportunities as well. So that first hour is going to be encompassing how you can leverage your opportunities here at Riley County. Yeah, we're trying to make it really specific to our employees, not just in general.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously we probably have employees all across the gamut as far as their knowledge and finesse of finances. And so we don't want to make it too specific to simplistic need, nor too advanced for that hour.
Well, it's good. I'm glad we all be in one spot.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
That last year wasn't, and that's my first one, but it didn't seem particularly productive.
Yeah, it's difficult to do virtual. There was still good things presented, but every person really had to engage to, get some things out of it. And we like to have the virtual opportunity, but I don't want to have individual employees sitting at their desks by themselves, trying to stay engaged. So even if we do end up having a small group of people that want to be, or feel that they have a need to be virtual, we are going to try to group those in departments still, so that you're not just sitting at your desk in a corner trying to participate. So we'll see how we can pull that together. I also agree it's going to be great to be in person.
And we do have a large space.
Mhm. Oh, that's right.
Kind of, not necessarily being right on top of each other. People don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The Rock Hills Church has there's several theaters, and that second theater can serve as an overflow room. They can broadcast on the screen what's happening in the main auditorium. So people who want to sit in kind of a smaller group can do so and spread out in that space and stuff.
Right. Thank you for bringing that. That's going to be our first line too. So if someone if I don't feel comfortable sitting with 250, you can sit in this large room, spread out with 5 people and still be on site, and then, still participate in that capacity as well. So that's a really good first option. But I do like that we invested in the equipment last year. And in the past, for example, again, our EMS crews or anybody that can't leave their work site, we might have some people in the clinic that might not be able to leave because of some vaccine deliveries. They were just excluded. And so having that virtual component, and you've been working with IT to make sure that that's a possibility, is still going to be nice to not exclude those employees. And I know Commissioner Ford, I think you're out of town that day, but hopefully, the other 2 commissioners will be able to attend. And I don't know if you saw your name on the agenda there.
Unfortunately, I saw it, so I.
Fortunately,
warning.
Yeah. And in the past, Vivian has offered to help, put some comments together and just so it's, make it succinct, because you can have as few or as many minutes as you like, but it's basically a moment just to welcome everyone and say hello and hear comments. Not high stress for you, I'm sure.
Yes, it is actually.
Well, we're all friendly faces, I guess, is what I mean by that.
Under the fiscal impact, you're saying there's a keynote speaker, but I don't see a keynote speaker, or is that the 3?
It's the K-State leadership is the keynote speaker, and there's $1,000 for that.
Oh, that's the one at 8:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right. Leadership Studies K-State, and that's going to be on effective communication.
Okay.
And that is out of their Leadership Studies program. And we spoke with the 2 people who will be presenting, and I am really excited. They had a great message, but they also spoke real talk. Like it wasn't academic. It wasn't things that we kind of like say, oh, that's a great concept, but it was just very relatable. So I'm really excited to see them in action. Yeah, that's actually the only speaker that we're paying for this year. And honestly, I do feel like that's a pretty reasonable price to have, someone come and speak for an hour, especially someone with their caliber. So, and I think Michelle's not here. She just actually heard someone speak from KU leadership, or maybe it was the K-State leadership at another campus. Anyhow, she was extremely, extremely impressed. So we'll see which one she likes better. Okay.
We need to, are we supposed to?
Yes, please. Yeah, unless you have anything that you'd like edited, but yes, we would love to have your approval so we can just confirm with everyone and sign contracts for location and that kind of stuff.
I'll go ahead then and move to approve the agenda and the budget for the 2022 Raleigh County Employee Day.
I would second that.
Yeah, we need
Been
to
moved and
rest.
seconded to approve the agenda and budget for the 2022 Raleigh County Employee Day. All in favor?
Thank you. Craig almost took away the approval right there. He got in front of me and said, we need to have a Nebraska speaker. I thought,
We could do that if we, we're gonna teach everybody broken English,
Shush.
grammar.
I think my English is just fine, and Kansas is not that far away from Nebraska. And both games did kind of well on Saturday. Thank you, commissioners.
See, 2-1 is still better than 1-3. That's Kansas math, by the way.
That is disrespect to the commissioners. Thank you.
They could teach us what the N stands for,
Yeah,
knowledge.
yeah, yeah. I like that.
I hear you, Mr. McKinley, giving him fire. I hear that. I don't think he needs any help.
First time I've ever heard that. I don't need any help. Okay. I did. Pretty good.
Oh, it should be on the W drive.
Houston.
Never find the way it was. Where is it?
If you click on
That's okay.
the yellow envelope, window explorer.
Knowledge.
This one?
Yeah, I've heard that, yes.
Somebody and I didn't know where.
I always thought that was a pretty good one.
So this conference is in Lexington or Louisville? Because on ours, it says Lexington, but on the paper, it says Louisville.
Wonder if it was Louisville last year.
Well, it says
There you go.
Expo Exposition and
Countywide.
Exposition Equipment Exposition. There's
And then look at
It's like just different locations. Kentucky.
Oh, no. There's a big difference between Louisville and Lexington.
No, I know.
Especially that time of the year, as basketball season starts.
So how far apart are they?
Oh, they're only hour and a half or so.
Which one's further east?
Lexington.
I was thinking. You
I
know,
want to
Kentucky.
assume that the Louisville is right that you put on the request form,
Okay.
but not, I'll blame somebody else. I'll take it for now, but I'll go back and blame somebody else.
Okay.
Are we ready for me? Or-
It says 11:15.
Yeah, you'll do it early.
Am I ready? Okay.
Yeah, 11:15, so you're on.
You have problems with the agenda, I'm not the person to talk to.
Do you have?
No, I am not saying anything.
And I wasn't either.
I was wrong.
I can look and forward that to you. Yeah.
Try to squeeze them.
Is Louisville coming in big?
There was
Yeah,
talk about it during the original
I'm
expansion.
halfway there.
And it is TV on here is really taking 3 different large cities kind of in that equation, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Louisville region.
We're getting Cincinnati.
Yeah, great.
Correct. So, with Scott Satterfield.
Well, who all was included?
Kind of,
Right, but Rich was saying he used to mention them, so it must be.
What do you think?
Usually does.
All county elected.
I'm excited. I mean,
I first time too.
different energy.
Say, there was a list of people that had
Everybody seems to be having that problem, but there should be, it's the
like
nature. I don't
shadowing this.
know how this team will work this year, but it should be a fun group.
It's 1 year thing. That's just the nature of the business these days.
I think we've already had 3 football players in the program already.
Yeah.
We have a big group going. Yeah, and Shiloh's actually great to check.
I've been talking about that. He said, you know, with the. Kids and stuff. And then you can see, that's fine. They just.
Well, I understand it not working long term, but man, you can't just walk into a coach's office or compliance office and go, I'm done.
Yeah. Lots of times. When they do the transfer, it doesn't work out well for them.
Most of them are having multiple transfers now, and they're not landing anywhere now. I think you have to start like from maybe like August 1st until December 1st, and wherever you land at, that's where you're at during that time.
Isn't the NCAA doing that? They're gonna have some.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Just talk.
Yeah. When, yeah, kind of restrictions on when they can. So quite for tomorrow.
Because you gotta remember, I
Back in
mean,
the old days to be transferred.
student athletes, you know, their first priority is still education. I mean, you gotta be somewhere to get said education and not just jumping through hoops,
I saw, well, I thought, for me, I saw my first NIL commercial for
Mhm.
Martinez did one for car company, car lot in Florida.
Long
Arthur, yeah.
actually, Skylar Thompson did something similar
I never
to.
saw any of his.
They've had a few of them around. Cats for Cans or something did one with DK and Deuce Vaughn last year. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, yeah, they had that.
Yeah. That won't speak specifically about the commercial, but it had to do with on-site construction.
Who was that? Who did the commercial?
It was Cats for Cans, I think it was.
Who was who?
But no, it's portal cans, is that what it was?
Or something, yeah. Ones that put the porta potties out there. It's pretty funny. Now, in the past, there's been other ones like Briggs and everything that have, they did a Colin Klein and Chris Harper one back in 12. But that was after
the year after.
Yeah, it was the fall afterwards and where they could do that. But
Yeah.
see, I don't have a problem with those, but
Back when I was a kid, professional football players did a lot of commercials. They don't do them. I guess they get paid too much. They don't need.
Well, like I said, they used to all have summer jobs too.
Well, yeah.
That's how Lenny got into.
My wife worked at Kansas City Life, back in the 70s, and I can't think who Hank Schramm's putter was, but he came and worked at Kansas City Life in the off season, because that's what they had to do.
well, I know the nature of advertising has changed so much more too. You can actually pay, an advertising firm to come in there and put like Geico ads or, funny stuff that, so you don't technically pay as much as you do.
For some reason, the Geico ads just irritate the hell out of me. I don't like that.
Just throwing that one out there as one. I mean, there's others.
No, there's others.
They're funny and you can tell they've got good people writing those, or maybe really bad people writing those. But that little lizard does annoy me every once in a while.
As a local commercial, the ones I really do enjoy, he hasn't been doing very often because I think he's a county commissioner now, but it's Diamond Dan, Superman guy from the Jewish store in Topeka.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. He lives up in I think Jefferson County. He's a county commissioner out there.
Oh, really?
He got elected 2 years ago. John can't place that. It's a Superman image.
And they all, and the rest of everybody that works there makes fun of them.
Yeah.
Commercials.
Huh.
I thought it was interesting. He got a county commissioner where he lives, north of Topeka. Good place to be, county commissioner. Good job.
Now it is. Might be a little more difficult 2 years ago.
Good.
Good morning, Commission. John Elderman, Public Works. Here to request an out-of-state travel for David Willis to go to Louisville to the Equipment Exposition. Last year was called GIE Expo and Equipment Show. It's an industry leading exposition, showcase the latest equipment, services, product design, technology. This one has the opportunity for registrants to actually get on the machine and demo some of those, as well as watch demonstrations of them. So you sent them to this last year. Hopefully bring back some good opportunities with equipment that might help benefit the Parks Department.
Where were the conferences held at specifically, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Freedom Hall over there and KFC Young Center and several different things over across the way on the Churchill Downs side and Kentucky Fairgrounds, all kinds of places. Get on equipment and drive it.
I think that'd be worth the show all by itself.
Great. Would be great. Have a couple of races on Churchill down there and see who wins. Might not go over very well, but it'd be fun to watch.
That's a long drive, isn't it?
You know how fast you drive, it's about 10 and a half, 11 hours.
Yeah, I thought it was.
You said 7? How long did
It's about 11.
11?
Do you go through St. Louis? That's the way I go.
Yes, gotta go by St. Louis.
Well, yeah. It's about halfway to DC, I think, because my daughter
That
and I
sounds
travel
about
there.
right,
I think it's Stateville.
I would try to avoid St. Louis, but you know, to have a couple hours.
I always, we kids in natural.
No, I usually take I-70 down to 64 and I drop all the way, and that takes you all the way into Louisville from there. Takes you on the bypass right there and it takes you basically right through downtown.
It's past the best stadium.
Yeah, Royal Stadium. No arguments there.
Okay.
You're just sending David, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So is he gonna take a pickup and bring some stuff back?
Well, not unless it's approved, I think. He might max out his credit card if he did.
Yeah.
Lots of ideas, I think. I hope.
I would make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for David Willis to go to the 2022 Expo Exposition in Louisville, Kentucky.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request for David Willis. All in favor?
Thank you.
Well, Commissioners, Evan McMillan, Assistant County Engineer. I'm here today to present an invitation to bid for the replacement of the shredder at the county office building. Last month, the shredder went out on us. We weren't able to get any power to the control board. So since we're regularly handling privacy sensitive documents, It's important that we do the shredding in-house. A lot of the privacy sensitive documents are, especially during elections. So doing it in-house ensures that we meet that security level required for handling those types of documents. The funds used to pay for the shredder will come out of the Riley County building fund or CIP. So one company already reached out to us and they estimated a wait time of around 8 to 10 weeks to get a shredder in. So it will take a while to replace. All that being said, a few days ago, we found a blown fuse. So we're hoping that that's the issue, but we won't know until we can get that part in and try it out. So I just wanted to get the ball rolling on the bidding process. And
Well, you said it's over how much or roughly, do you know?
I'm sorry,
Do you know roughly what these cost?
could be anywhere between 20 and 50,000.
Oh.
Depends on the model we go with.
How are we able to take that out of the building fund?
It's a good question of how they got bought out of public works or building fund to begin with 20 years ago.
Oh, boy. So it's like to me, that'd have to be
And
CIP.
that just happened. I mean, I inherited it. It's been in our stuff. So there's an argument that more than one department uses it.
But it's still equipment. It's not building.
Understand? I'm not going to argue one way or the other.
Let's ask the gentleman behind you. Should
Where-
be able to answer that too.
That should come from. I think the request has been coming from building fund and we've maintained it. We've scheduled maintenance on it. That's part of that. Going off of other.
I understand.
So the request maybe to come from CIP, we haven't made the request yet. To use CIP money for it.
Well, we're in the midst of updating CIP and we're going to have a session on that next month. So that would be an applicable time, but that seems to me to be a capital improvement because it's equipment. Not
air conditioners come from.
The air conditioners are part of the function of the building.
Yeah.
The shredder would be the argument.
I would probably defend that argument that.
I mean, you tell us where you think it should come from, and I'm assuming that department will figure out.
I would rather it come out of CIP just simply because if we have a major malfunction with the building and we're spending $20,000 to $50,000, that would be pretty significant in that process.
I would agree personally, because I think that's where it should come from. I don't know how historically it came out of the building in the first place.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where they had something at the time.
Well,
Had
that's
some
a
funds at the time.
possibility. Or they thought it was screwed, bolted down to the floor or something. I have no idea, but I would think out of the mechanical or equipment bucket would be the better place to go.
I would also say that there would be more possibilities of potentially getting some type of grant or something. You know, you use it for elections. I know that there's state and federal funds available for equipment type stuff there. I'm not saying we use that. I'm just giving a broad example, but whereas building is pretty much straight in that box what it is. Something to think about. But yeah, we kind of definitely need it, right?
Yeah.
One way or the other. So
I would agree. I would prefer we have CMP versus building.
okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just make that motion and that it does come out of there.
Let's put that on the list, on our list, I guess. I don't know where else to put it on, but we'll put it on the list, get an estimate of cost.
You could put that on there as a separate project. It didn't necessarily have to specifically come out of a department or be prioritized. Correct? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead then and make a motion for Public Works to go out for bid on one industrial shredder, and that to be funded out of the capital improvement fund.
Can I interrupt it? I would maybe do that on the premise that the fuse doesn't work.
Well, then maybe should we just table this and then figure that out and then come back if that's the case?
That would be fine.
Okay.
My main reason for doing it
We
today.
could go ahead proceed getting bids.
That's what I
And then-
thought, because it's gonna be 8 to 10 weeks.
And then if it turns out we don't have a problem, then we can just say, well, change them out up.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
The only thing you'd be out is advertising costs.
Right.
And, I mean, but like lead time right now, I think is.
If you're talking 8 to 10 weeks, let's not wait any further, but particularly if it's not working, because we're getting to the end of the year. You've got tax documents, we've got elections, general election. Correct. So lots and lots of very highly sensitive and private documents that need to be properly handled.
Is the
So
2020 shred being postponed because of that? Yeah.
mhm.
So we should get the part in today or tomorrow, and then we'll be able to test it out. So we'll know pretty quick.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll go with the original motion that was on the table then.
Just move the date. Bid without saying CFP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve Public Works to offer bid on industrial shredder. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Double check the funding, make sure I'm right on.
That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Shredder drew quite a crowd, didn't it?
It's always the oddest things.
Election, shredded.
You got to shred the 2020 ballots.
Why?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're approved last meeting.
Because
It was supposed to be shredded.
Well, it's not working.
Yeah.
But that's the reason, it's not like it's been.
Yes, it should.
Get your employees will waste basket comparisons and start.
You don't know about those guys.
There's all kinds of.
So
Yeah.
If I remember right, Rick started talking, there were some other issues with it, so it wasn't a complete surprise.
Sure.
Is it housed in your office, the shredder?
Down in the basement.
It's in the
I mean,
basement, okay.
It's not easily gonna be moved.
News.
Okay. Would that be
Up
where
the
you want
elevator
to,
somehow.
is that where you continue to?
Yes. I believe that's where they would want.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to go see it, just.
Oh,
It's
no, I'm
down
fine
time
with
to
it.
show you that.
I think they're gonna have to figure out a way to break it down in pieces, and probably through the elevator. is what I'm saying.
Big
Well,
camera.
I was thinking of how they got it in there. I mean, they had it come in parts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they didn't build the building around it. I know that for a fact.
It was a chore getting in here because it was heavy.
Probably have to break it apart.
Talked about the bids being, part of the bid was when they delivered the new one to take the old one with them.
There you go. There you go.
That's a good idea.
Maybe you can get it traded.
As old as it is, I don't think they can part it out, but I don't know, maybe there's a
That
recycle.
was part of the issue.
Yeah.
Couldn't find somebody that was so old. Nobody wanted.
Huh, that's interesting. How old is it?
I think I see him spotted 79.
79.
Was that right? 89.
I think it might have been 89.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, 88 or 89.
That's still
It was 20.
Impressive.
25,000.
over 20 years old.
It was 20 grand.
No, that's closer to 25, almost 30.
It's over 20, yeah. 23.
I offered to go to Walmart, find a prepping shredder, so he did.
Well, I was gonna offer up ours, but I don't know.
He said that wouldn't work.
This one here, I think is kind
We already
of getting on its last leg.
Buy 20 of those.
We can go to the old way where you have the deal and you can just axe it down and cut it in cut it in pieces.
Ain't that a,
Man, I almost wonder, at that price, would it be easier to contract with somebody who could do industrial shredding?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
I don't think there is.
In regards to the balance, I think the clerk's office has to be in charge of the shred.
We do.
Yeah. Did you see on the training today, one of the team buildings was axe throwing? I think I might just avoid that one.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Some of the people I know, I think they're in the same room with them throwing an axe.
Nope.
I'm not can put certain people's names or pictures on that.
A big old picture of a red hen.
If you want to get a hood, you don't put a husk.
That's what I said, a red hen.
Oh, red ant. Okay, I didn't hear that.
For knowledge.
Is she watching?
I have no idea.
Fire department.
I'm sure if she is, I'll hear about it later.
Fire department annual meeting they had.
Hey, I did. Looked like the kids were having more fun with that than the adults were, now that I'm thinking about it. This could be a good or bad thing, I don't know.
I think that's.
I just find it interesting that the place over here, they serve alcohol along with that.
That's like the place down in Aggieville, where you paint and drink and paint. That's gonna be interesting too, isn't it? I mean.
That might be safer though.
Well, it's safer.
That might not cause lacerations and amputations and several other things that could.
I was trying to paint something that would look like it, but.
Maybe it's the reverse psychology. We just start drinking, they make it look like Michelangelo.
That was sober, right?
Right.
never.
Yeah, my mom was an artist, and it's quite a, to conceptualize something and put it on canvas. I don't have that ability. I could, when I was in high school, if I could copy something like when you were dissecting a frog, I could do that real good, but to think of something and draw it out, I don't have it in me.
So you decided to become an attorney.
Yeah,
good call.
Yeah. I wanted to eat it.
Yeah, I guess it'd be. I don't know if it's right or wrong to mention this, but I've actually won 3 national art
You just got
awards myself. So I was artistic. I know.
Dog walker always
My
says.
mom and my
Like he's out there outside.
he's like just
The amazing thing about it is that he's won all that.
Seriously, didn't want to go out this
Still
last
thinks it's
night.
horrible.
Oh, probably not.
He usually goes.
We did linoleum printings. He had to blend 2 different animals into a natural environment. This is like 7th or 8th grade. And the teacher was just
Jack and I put on.
put ink on it, stamp it, the paper,
Good idea. Yeah,
Okay. And I don't know, and then just started winning stuff. And I'm like,
pretty
that kind of backfired.
He kept barking at me when I came home.
Yeah. That's right. He brought some. He's grown. He's got his farm.
Yeah.
He wants to bark, but he's.
That's good though.
Well,
For
yeah.
strangers.
Yeah. People on the trail always order.
No.
It's scary, really.
Do I make a motion that we recess the Board of County Commission and reconvene as Board of County Health?
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commissioners, convene as Board of Health, all in favor?
Aye.
Good morning again. I'm back. This time with a request for approval to replace our current health department sign. Nothing wrong with it, but we've been looking for some time at digital signage. Ever since really we received the branding grant in 2019 is really when we started to research the capabilities of digital signs. We have never had the money to be able to get a digital sign, and now we do. We have some leftover COVID supplemental funds. I did reach out to KDHE to make sure that we can spend this money on digital signage, and as long as it's COVID related, we advertise COVID vaccines, testing times, things like that. We can use the money for digital signage. It's all much more appealing. We can advertise more events through a digital sign. And also when it comes to any emergency response, we can put out information on that sign with any emergency that we have. So really it can be used for a lot of different reasons. And we thought that by replacing the current sign that we have on the corner of Wharton Manor and Claflin, that would be the best place for it. I talked to John about this. He came out and he agrees that would probably be the best place. Any further down toward the FCRC building, you get closer to that crosswalk and it could be dangerous. If you have digital message there and then people not paying attention to that crosswalk, it's already kind of a dangerous place right there. We will be abiding by the city regulations. The representative from Shirley Sign that came out and spent a few hours with us made sure that he went over the city regulations. So any information that you put up has to stay for a full minute before you rotate it out. So I also talked to Vivian, our PIO, and she gave me the name of the representative from the city to make sure that we were abiding by those regulations. So we'll work with Vivian on messaging. We have once we do, if this is approved, once we move forward, we will have the capability to control that on our end, but we'll make sure to work with Vivian to make sure that our messages are on point and consistent. So what you see there, that estimate is the full estimate from Shirley Signs, and that would be fully paid for through our ELC funds, the COVID supplemental funds. He did come out when that representative from Shirley Signs came out, he did match the brick that you see there in that picture with our brick on our building. So it will at least match and look appealing.
Won't be any. Go ahead.
No, the city approval was one thing I was gonna ask. I remember seeing paper that they talk with people over digital signs. They have certain rules that need to.
Not the larger one that you see on the highways. It's not.
No, there was one. You looked at when they put it by the parking lot at K-State, they had
You know, what accidents.
complaints about it or something. You know, their city was. Like I say, that's why I assume they've set regulations of what, like I say, I guess. You said they're distracting. Maybe it's because they flash too often. Maybe that's the 1 minute.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing like individual is the speed of the rotation. The faster it is, the more distracting it is. So that's where the minute comes into play.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I just remember there's several years ago, it was back and forth with the city or a couple of them digital signs.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been approved with them.
So it will have like limestone all the way around it, or how is it like built in?
Yeah, it's more brick. I have to look.
Except it says synthetic at the bottom. It says synthetic
Okay.
brick, which my background, I have a problem with that. But
They part static, right?
They're
Yes.
almost about the same
Yeah,
price.
that's
It's just a little percentage.
Yes.
I think it's a good combination.
We wanted to make sure we still had the information at the top there. So yeah, that will stay constant. And then the stuff below will change. That will be the digital part.
So it's, like I say, it just says it's fake brick, but it's synthetic stucco brick base. Which I'm not a-
Yeah, well, my house keeps falling off.
Problem with it is it's actually hard to maintain than real brick because it gets the mold and everything else on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which in that location.
I prefer real brick, but
Could be.
uh,
I could ask him.
yeah, that's one.
Is the 2 foot off the ground, is that a little low for people to do?
I think that was their standard. That's what they.
The city probably has regulations for that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a way to advertise some things and get a larger amount of information out. I don't know. That's just some complication that we have to come back to some point in time, and probably good use of funds that are available and probably won't be available at some point in time if we don't use it for something. So any issues there outside of that? I guess I'll go. Yeah. Okay. Then I guess I'll go ahead and move that we approve the request to replace the sign at Wharton Manor and Claflin Road with the new digital sign.
I would second that.
And move and second to approve the request to replace the sign at Wharton Manor and Claflin with a digital. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
It shows that.
Yes. That keeps the bushes down.
So I'll make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as Board of County Commission.
I would second that.
And move and second recess as Board of Health and reconvene as Board of County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you? Mike, did you have something?
No, I'm being good.
Okay.
Here, yeah.
No,
No, I didn't issue. He does, but it's with me.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. I know we're all gonna, maybe not all of us, but we're gonna be in Marysville. I don't know who else is, so.
Yep.
I think that starts at, I saw right 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I have down to 9. I think it was donuts and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Registration. I left my table now.
I've got the event thing back in the office.
Yeah, I think we have an event. Was your schedule somewhere else?
Yeah, I had one.
I've got one. I've got it.
Forward it to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you do.
I've got it.
I had it somewhere in the stack.
Yeah. I took a bunch of stuff out of my phone. I'm sure.
Well, I think we have one unofficial piece of business to consider this morning. So I guess you're filling in for Clancy on this. I'm assuming Rich already put his numbers down.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I figured that. I'm gonna make a motion that those don't count. And then we make up our own. No second.
So you're always first.
Man, remember back in 2012, we played a horrible, awful game against North Texas. Only difference is we won that game. Then the following week to start out big conference, or Big 12 conference play, because we always start on the road. Yeah. We went to number 6, Oklahoma, and won that game 24-19, if I recall. And kind of opened things up and led to a Big 12 championship and a Fiesta Bowl berth. This team isn't that same team. Spreads 14 points. I like our defense. I have nothing to say about the offense. I think we're going to play a close game. I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to say 28-17 OU.
2017 what?
28-17 OU.
Okay.
Your 28-24 Cats. Since there's no money involved, it's easy to go. It's easy to bet.
I actually play the reverse psychology and more often than not it works, so it's fine with me too.
Well,
And you can say that because you're ahead right now, 2 out of the 3 games too. So.
well, I have to do something I never thought I would, is say Oklahoma is going to beat us at 27-13.
Great.
This caught me off guard. I wasn't thinking. I know nothing about Oklahoma.
Keep it that way.
Is their quarterback new?
No, he's a transfer, believe it or not, from US.
But this is the first year there though, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
First year.
Well, I'm not gonna do what Catherine did. I just can't do that. I'm gonna say. Uh, 30-27 K-State.
You want to know Rich's?
Yeah.
He has 31-10 OU.
Ooh, he went on it too. Hey, Greg, we're in the minority this morning.
It pains me, but
I put money that way, but
it seemed like Kleiman was kind of the antidote to Lincoln Riley and had a good game plan down there, but
no, that's right. He'd been beating them, but
even last year, it was a pretty stellar game.
Well, he's on the radio last night. He said that they beat him in 2020.
They did after we lost to Arkansas
But
State.
they said that's this is gonna be a whole different game because the stadium was empty. There's nobody in there.
Right.
So,
oh yeah, I heard that. But saying
yeah.
different thing.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. I mean, they beat us here with the stadium full last year, and it's not still a game of X's and O's. So
Any given Saturday.
It's true.
Any given Saturday.
We'll see. We'll see if they do something different with the offense, and it. I think the defense will keep us in every game.
Yeah, but you say, I don't do a lot of analysis and stuff and statistics, but I've seen the first 3 games, and I have just been greatly impressed with the defense. And it's kind of like back in the old K-State. We always had good defense. We were always cussing the offense because they just couldn't make that next first down. And so
here it's one dimensional. If you shut Deuce Vaughn down, you shut down the entire offense.
Yeah.
And that's not a winning formula. You've got to have something.
Martinez was supposed to be a passer.
Well, he was, but he made a lot of mistakes doing that. So, the first game was, we're playing South Dakota. They don't need to open up the playbook, blah, blah, blah. They're strengthening their defense was the back end. And then 2 weeks ago, it rained. To my knowledge, you can throw a football in the rain. Pigskin does work.
Whatever it was, they did throw the ball and we intercepted it 4 times.
Yeah.
They weren't getting it. It's slick.
There was no really any excuse. I think on 3rd or 4th down, I didn't see a pass at all. If I remember right, they definitely didn't go 10 yards.
Yeah.
They did, and so we'll see.
I don't know nothing about football stuff, but I really don't. But like watching it, especially last Saturday, it just seems like to me that Martinez just didn't have a grasp on the offense. It was like he was lost out there. He didn't know. Well, yeah,
It's amazing,
and I think it's default that when he gets in trouble, he decides to run. And that's never good for a quarterback just to default to that. I don't mind a running quarterback, but it's gonna be interesting.
Well, sometimes it's what you do on first down.
Yeah, you got it.
If you're consistent on first down, a game of football, if you get 3.5 yards per play, you can you should be able to win every game.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have 3 downs to get 10 yards and so on and so forth. But if you can't get, a couple of yards on first down, then you're already behind the sticks.
Pick up 4 or 5 on first down.
Right. You're usually in pretty good shape, and it gives you a balance of what you can do with that. And kind of struggled with that a little bit too. So. Well, don't be so. Yeah,
don't be so protective.
Right.
Yeah.
Throw a tight end and then in the mix there, and run something across the middle, or simple crossing route, or a slant, or go back to the screens. Go back to those bubble screens and just throw a couple of wrinkles in there to mix it up.
I always like the slip screen myself.
Yeah. In effect, we've had some pretty good receivers in the past that run those real good.
Yeah.
I've
seen many a touchdown off of that.
I have too. And critical games. So Okay, well, I guess I'll see you guys in Marysville tomorrow. So I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn the where we at September 22nd meeting of the Riley County Commission. Yeah. Thanks.
I was second that.
Nugent seconds, I need a call later.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. Often be when they run the auction, he'd run out like he was going to step back.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He had, he had played on Morgan at the time. Yeah, he had the speed. I don't think we're lacking that with Brooks and Nobles, just something in that, there's something that's not clicking,
The neighbors of my seat yelling at Klein all the whole day.
It's just simple execution on the field. Some of it's.
They were saying, call, they're yelling at Klein.
My thought would be on 3rd or 4th down, if all else fails, bring Howard in. He's 6'5".